Hello friends, Brandy here with Falcon Healing Arts. I hope you are doing really well. Last month I did a video on inspired aging as a triple goddess, where we explored the maiden, mother, crone archetypes and stages in a woman's life. So today's video is a follow-up to that, because as I said in that last video, I am actually transitioning into my crone years, and I have a lot to say about this. Also because I have seen a lot of women move through menopause into this stage. I've actually helped a lot of them. They've been my acupuncture clients and have been so inspiring in our healing journey together that I'm actually pulling from our work together to help myself move through this stage. And I have 5 main tips that I want to share with you, these main lessons that I have learned. Because so far, I'm doing really well, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I am starting to miss some periods. I would say they are heavier, but not crazy, like I've heard what other women experience. I have had no hot flashes. I have had some weight gain. It's been over many years, so it wasn't a sharp rise, and it hasn't been that much. I do feel like I'm very settled in my body still. I still love the way I look, and I'm happy. I'm also really excited to be moving into this next stage in my life. So I want you to experience this as well. It is a very, very sweet time. And I know that many women have a lot of resistance to menopause and to moving into these later years of their lives. So I want to help you if you are moving into these crone years with me. So with these 5 tips, I want to help you move through menopause with more ease, less resistance, to build more excitement. It is possible. And these tips address all layers of your being. So we're going to start with the very physical and move through to the deeper spiritual, which you know that I love doing. And I hope you appreciate that as well. So without further ado, let us address these 5 tips. The first is to detox your body and your home. Our bodies are very efficient in removing toxins through our breath, through sweating, through urination and defecation. However, we are exposed to so many toxic substances, both outside and inside our homes. There's also toxic substances in our water, in our food, with herbicides and pesticides. So there's a lot that we can be looking at. There's a lot that we can be removing and avoiding. But if you're not doing that, if you're not doing any removing or avoiding of these substances, this can burden your liver, especially over time. So this can be building up over a lifetime. And your body does need extra support. Otherwise, you might start to see symptoms such as fatigue, headache, skin rashes, constipation, weight gain, blood sugar issues, and you may think that this is about menopause, that this is about your fluctuating hormones, but really it's a burdened liver. And I hope that hearing this actually feels good to you, because when people assume that all their symptoms are about menopause and hormones, they may assume that these are things they just have to endure, that they have to experience as part of the process. And that really is a misconception when it comes to toxins, the liver, and these symptoms that happen to show up around this time in your life, because they do make menopause symptoms worse. This is what makes hot flashes worse. And it's one of the reasons why menopause symptoms are so different for all women. We all have different amounts of toxic loads. So knowing that that may be the main issue can give you more control. This is something you can easily address. And once you do that, you can see if your menopause symptoms are less, and you actually see what you're working with from a hormonal standpoint. So in order to detox your body and your home, I suggest that you watch these 4 videos. That's right, I actually have 4 videos on this channel. I have covered this topic pretty thoroughly. Watch these 4 videos about how to detox your body and your home. And if you want to go further, I actually have a Nourish to Heal diet and lifestyle cleanse that will help you avoid those toxins and help to implement lifestyle and diet changes, which will support your liver and help open up your detox pathways. This cleanse is a wonderful place to start because I have a guidebook, I have videos that will support you. There's also seasonal changes you can make that are based on Chinese medicine, dietetics, so can support anyone regardless of age throughout the year. Tip number 2 is to strengthen and to stretch your body. Movement, exercise is an important part of detoxing. Like we mentioned, it's important to sweat through the skin. That is one pathway. But movement is also helpful for peristalsis to help you move toxins out through the bowels. But it's not just movement. It's not just exercise that you need as you're moving through these Crone years, but in particular strength training, because muscles tend to atrophy as we age. You will lose your muscle mass quickly if you are not using your muscles, really challenging them regularly. And when you start to lose muscle mass, you are more vulnerable to injury. And injury is not great at this stage in your life because it does make it more challenging to recover. So menopausal women may start to notice that they are getting injured during this time. They may assume that it has something to do with menopause, but again, it's more likely that it's just natural aging and muscle atrophy that are really the culprit. And your body does get used to certain movements, so you might need to change up your routine. If you are doing a lot of strengthening yoga, you're not seeing the results anymore, you might actually need to lift heavier weights. And it is a good idea to lift heavy with just a few repetitions and a lot of rest in between. And we'll be getting into that point next. You definitely don't want to overdo the strength training because this can be stressful for the body. And you might create more tension. So this is why stretching the body is also really important. As you're strengthening, you also need to stretch those muscles that you've worked. Plus, as we age, we typically tend to start to cave in, so the body becomes more rounded forward. And so when you're focusing on stretching and strengthening, just think that you want to reverse that. So you want to reverse this seated position. You want to, and this is what we do with the computer too. So not just the typical aging posture where we get closer and closer to the ground, but we're on the computer as well. So we have this action happening with the neck. So retracting the chin, lengthening the neck, opening the shoulders, strengthening the back in the process. What else here? So as we're sitting, let me stand up here, we want to reverse that. So we want to open up the hip flexors, strengthening the opposing muscles, which are the gluteal muscles. We want to open up. So lunges are actually really good for that. Opening up your hip flexors and strengthening the butt at the same time. Do a lot of lunges here. You could also incorporate the back strengthening and opening the chest and shoulders, even retracting the chin. And then you'll want to do a lot of leg exercise. So working all the muscles in general will be very supportive. And then, of course, there is the core. The front core in front of the spine, the back core in back of the spine, surrounding the spine, and making sure that it's very mobile. So incorporating a lot of twists as well. If you need more guidance than this, and certainly you can just explore those movements on your own, but if you do need more guidance, I have a wonderful free video here on YouTube that is focused on stretching. And this would be wonderful for you to do first thing in the morning. I love to sandwich my day with stretching because I always wake up feeling achy. This does happen generally as we age. There are other things as well, dietary, that could contribute too. But in particular, most of us feel a little more achy when we wake up. So getting on the floor as soon as possible after you wake up, working through this video sequence. Once you get used to it, you could start doing those movements on your own. But anyway, try to do it in the morning when you wake up. And then before bed, you'll also want to stretch to let the mind relax into the body. This is also going to be emotionally settling for you too, so you can sleep really well. Remember that when we are sore, when we are achy, when we are stiff, this is reflective of our energy. This means we have energy stagnation. It needs to move. Otherwise, this can contribute to disease, not just physically, but on every level. So important to address stiffness and to make sure that you're supporting your body with strength training as well. And certainly when we are talking about mobilizing the energy through strength and stretching, acupuncture, acupressure can also help as well. So consider that too. Tip number 3 is to prioritize relaxation. So this is related to what we just talked about keeping the body and energy free flowing, but also to help with weight gain. So counter probably to what you've been doing so far in your life, where we typically eat less and exercise more. We definitely want to change that when we are in peri to post menopause. Insulin, adrenal hormones, cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and also thyroid hormone regulation is actually more important when it comes to managing weight than estrogen or progesterone fluctuations. So this is another example of us misunderstanding a menopause symptom. Everybody's body changes as they age. Of course, we're going to experience changes through menopause, but weight gain is not inevitable. And if you do gain weight, like I said, I've gained, I don't know how much I've gained, but again, it's not that bad. It has not changed my life a lot. And there are changes I am making that are helping with that. And prioritizing stress relief is key. So incorporating casual walks through your neighborhood. So again, not focused on exercise, but releasing energy, releasing stress as you're walking. Doing gentle yoga, like we just talked about. I love to knit to relax. Taking hot baths. Maybe hot tubs, getting massages, You'll want to tone down the stress-inducing activities like running around town, doing lots of cardio that's exhausting your body, working really late at night, burning the candle at both ends, or even watching too much news. Try to release unnecessary worry. Get plenty of sleep and see if you can be predominantly in a parasympathetic state. That is the rest and digest state. Stress hormones can actually help with weight loss, but only when we're exercising. Your body is very smart. It knows when you need it and when you don't. So when it sees that you are really stressed out and it is pumping out these stress hormones, it's actually going to make you gain weight because your body thinks that it needs to store fat in order to protect you. So if stress hormones are in your body when you are not exercising, you will gain weight. Now, with regard to insulin, it can be managed by eating regular meals, snacking if you are truly hungry, but trying to limit that. Also, balancing your macronutrients, so balanced carbohydrates, fat, protein, and remaining active. So when you fuel your body, you're then moving. You are using that fuel. And again, it could just be walks around the block after you eat. Thyroid hormones can also be regulated by balanced meals and a more relaxed lifestyle. The thyroid does not like us to eat less and exercise more. This is very stressful for the thyroid gland. So to sum this all up again, relaxation is very important to manage your hormones and to manage your weight. But this subject can be complex, it could be confusing, and you may need additional support. So definitely consider working with a natural health provider to give you extra guidance. The fourth tip is to explore deeper healing. Many women, like I mentioned before, experience a lot of resistance when they are moving into menopause and into the Crone years. And this can bring up new issues that require deeper healing. Also, there may be some old issues that start to resurface, particularly if you are moving from the mother stage to the crone stage and you actually have children who are leaving the home. Remember, the mother stage, if you watched that previous video, the mother stage is a very active time where we have a lot of energy focused on caring for our children, for caring for people in our community. We could be caring for our businesses. So it's easy for us to be distracted and to stuff our emotions, to not deal with challenging experiences, to acknowledge that there has been trauma. And so when the kids start to leave home and you are with yourself more, that's when these issues may start to resurface because your higher self knows that this is an opportune time to heal. And again, it may be confused with just being this menopause symptom of craziness, but it is coming up for a reason, quite often because there's always been something here that needs to be addressed. So examples are feeling like you're having an identity crisis, maybe you're having a lot of self-esteem and body image issues, lack of confidence, feeling that you're inferior to younger generations, younger women, and you may actually start to get more worried about your health. You might start to fear death more. These are all signs that you need deeper healing. So consider addressing it right now. The sooner that you address it, the longer time you'll have to enjoy your life in a healed state. And remember when we were talking about energy stagnation? That can happen with emotional trauma as well. It's stored in the body. It can create disease. So think of this as being preventative as well. That if you are proactive about your healing, you are preventing disease, you are more likely to enjoy a longer, happier life. So go beyond just addressing the surface level menopausal symptoms. And who you see for healing, which modalities you experience, is totally dependent on who you are, what you feel you need, what you're comfortable with. Many of you may wish to work with a psychotherapist, which I totally recommend. I've talked here about this quite often, how I went through 5 years of therapy, and it was one of the best things I have done in my life. This is how I have a functional, loving marriage and am a pretty good mom. If I had not had these 5 years of therapy, I do not know what my life would be like. I was a completely different person back then. So consider psychotherapy. But if you have had that, you may need something deeper. I continue to need healing. And this is what has propelled me along my spiritual journey and now in a position where I can help others with their issues. So know that if you are wanting to go deeper, I help women quite effectively in my holistic healing sessions with meditation, coaching, a high E70 energy healing, and shamanic healing. There is so much we can do both online and in person. And I personally enjoy this healing work. I think you will find it very interesting as well. And our last tip, number 5, is to allow yourself grace and peace. You are moving into a very different stage in your life. Allow yourself to shift and change. Can you stop being so hard on yourself? Can you release any expectations of what this is going to look like, what this should look like? You are moving into the unknown because this is a unique journey for you. So try not to compare yourself to your friends or your family who have moved into these Crone years. Can you shift your mindset into being curious about what's going to come up without the stress of expectations? Allow yourself to be led by your higher self, by spirit, by God. Get closer to your authentic nature. Focus on your life path, and you will experience peace with whatever comes. So those are the 5 tips, friends. I hope that this guidance feels supportive to you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I would love to help you out with any questions or point you to any resources. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, share it with a friend who could use this support. I'm here just about every week offering you empowering, holistic wellness wisdom. So if this is something you are interested in, consider subscribing to this channel. Hit the notification bell along the way so you don't miss any of my future videos. Well wishes to you, friend. I hope to see you again soon.